What's going on, y'all? It's Tre'Leon Bay. Peace and love to the family out there. So, what is the real deal with the real estate market right now? Like, what's the truth? What's really happening? Right? Are we at a boom? Is it about to crash? Are we at a bust? What part of the cycle are we in? You know, a lot of people is talking about this and that with it, but have you looked at the charts yourself? Like, have you looked at the data to actually know what part of the cycle that we in right now? All right, let's do that. Let's look at it ourselves so we can determine what's going on. Because sometimes you can get wrapped up in the day-to-day stuff and you can forget to look at the bigger picture so that you can prepare yourself for what's to come in the future. All right, so we're going to talk about where we at in the real estate market. And let me tell you, there's some things that's kind of weird that, people not really talking about these things. And so I'm going to talk to you about some zombie properties. Like zombie properties, like what the heck is that about? We're going to talk about zombie properties. And we also going to talk about where we are as far as prices is concerned and the inventory that's concerned and what that does to the price in the real estate market, all right? Is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? All of these stuff that people just throw out there in the air. But are you in the best position for this next economic transition? Let's get started. Family, we are back. So let's break down this United States real estate market. All right, what we're looking at right now is the U.S. real estate index from bar chart. And you can just go to bar chart, and actually look up this specific chart if you want to do it yourself. All right, because that's what we're going to do. We're going to get down to the truth. We're going to get down to actually what's going on. We're not taking anybody else's opinion for what's going on. We're looking at the data ourselves. All right, so let's analyze and just look at this chart right here. What we're looking at this current time is actually the last about 12 years of the real estate price market, the market price. And so since 2007, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the real estate market cycles. The market has a tendency to go along to real estate market cycles like every 18, 20 years. But in 2007 is when we were at the height of the last real estate market boom. All right, so it was a boom right here. This was considered to be a real estate market boom. Everything literally was selling off. If somebody had something for sale, something to buy, everybody was making money. But what was happening is that you had the mortgage crisis happen because everybody was giving out mortgages. Well, banks specifically was giving out mortgages to people who even couldn't qualify. And when it came down to it, when it came down to paying those mortgages back, nobody really could. A whole lot of foreclosures happening because it wasn't real mortgages. It was just, the more I learn about this real estate market, the more I realize that it's a game. It's literally a game. All of these different strategies is a game. You just got to really figure out who the heck is getting played. And the people that's getting played is the people of the land because those are actually the owners of the land. And everybody else that's sitting on top of the land isn't the owners. It's just all made up paperwork and figures as so-called things you think is mortgages. That's just pledges. It's just a whole bunch of stuff. I'm not going to get into that in this video all the way. We're just going to look at the data real quick. I kind of got off with it. So back to the data right here. This in 2007 was the real estate market boom from 5, 6, 7. It was going up, up, up. This chart doesn't go back far enough to show us that. But you see how it hit the top right here in 2007. And then it came all the way down here in 2009 and it hit the bottom. All right, so we bottomed out at 2009 during this real estate market crash is what they called it. And so after the boom and then the crash, from there, since 2009, we've been just going up and up and up. About 10 years. For the last 10 years, a little bit over 10 years, we've been on our way up. Not really making that money correction. It's just a few price corrections. So the price is literally almost at the same place that we was back here in 2007 when it was at the real estate bust. All right, at the top of the market, we're rising up to that price again at the top of the market. So right now, there's a lot of different factors that's going on with the market right now. Pretty much every strategy is working. Everybody and their mom is kind of doing real estate and the real estate in some type of way. And so it is very competitive, but at the same time, we have low inventory. So there isn't too many houses for sale that are, it's not very competitive for the sellers. And so that makes it a seller's market where the sellers have a little bit more control over getting high bids on their houses when they do put them up for sale and it's a nice house. So that makes the price rise even more because it's not as much supply on the market. So it's still pretty good demand and then it's not as much supply, and that causes the prices to rise. And then there's also some other factors going on with the housing market where it's a lot of underlying things that, with the common folks, they don't let a lot of those things out, and then you find out later on what's going on, and then you can't react like what happened right here, right? So we're keeping our eye on this stuff ourselves so we can be prepared. Right now, it's rising up and it's pretty much right at the top of where we were before. So we're going to see whether or not this thing goes down or continues to go up a little bit more. But more than likely, because like I said, it's going to be a shift in the economy. It's the shift in power coming. Those people who the land belonged to is coming back to them. All right, it's on its way back, and so this thing is eventually going to tank and fall. We just don't know when. So that's why the people who are in the real estate industry should get prepared, start getting prepared to know either other strategies to do or other ways that you can kind of make it get in line with what's happening with the economy, and just know that it ain't just for you to watch, and it ain't just a TV show. That it's stuff that's going to affect you eventually. So we're gonna keep our eye on it, and I'm gonna keep my eye on it with y'all to show y'all what the truth is and what's really happening. All right, so we're gonna check back at this chart probably in a few months just so we can check back in. But let's just go over just this year. Let's go just this year. Oh, let's go see how that chart looks. So just with this year, here we go. This looks a little better. So this is this year starting in October 2018. We see we came down, made a lower low from this low, and then since there we've been making higher highs again, all the way up. And so right here it kind of got a little slowdown, and then it made another higher high. And so we're still kind of on an up and up, but we'll see whether or not it continues up or not. So just for this year, prices have been rising in the real estate industry. So if you were looking to sell, it's definitely a time to sell. If you were looking to buy, you know, probably not the best time to buy, honestly, within a mortgage anyway, and that type of setup, because more than likely these prices are going to eventually start coming back down for a little while, or like I said before, start coming down for good, and our whole real estate market industry is going to be changing. So keep an eye up on those prices there. So just to go a little bit into, well, I'm gonna share with you this article here just to go into a little bit of inside scoop on what's happening with the again with the marketing data. All right, not about somebody's opinion, somebody's guess and prediction. We're just looking at the data and what it showed us before, and then we're going to keep our eye out for when it start making moves again. So right here, this article is from atomdata.com, and they're going over 10 housing markets with the most zombie foreclosures in quarter three of 2019. All right, so quarter three was just over. This is the data they have, the top 10 of these areas. We're going to go over that real fast. Kind of hard for you to see with these words, a little small, but we're going to go over that. So, zombie foreclosures, right? It's an interesting way of putting it. So, zombie foreclosures to them are foreclosures is zombie homes or properties facing possible foreclosures which have been vacated by their owners nationwide. So literally, people have just been vacating the properties, leaving. Nobody's in them, just skedaddling, Houdini out of here. Something is happening, and then now the banks are coming back to foreclose on those homes as those people disappear. So this is what they're keeping track of on the Atom data. So let's just go over the 10 metros. So the 10 metros they saying with the highest number of zombie properties are New York City, Newark, New Jersey, Jersey City, Jersey. Then we have Chicago, Naperville, Elgin. Then we have Miami, Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, West Palm Beach, Florida. Then we have Cleveland and El Rio, Ohio. Tampa, St. Petersburg, and Clearwater in Florida. Then we have Philadelphia, Camden, and Wilmington. Then we have Albany and Troy in New York, Rochester, New York, Baltimore, Columbia, Townsend, and Maryland, and then Jacksonville, Florida. And so those are the top 10 metro areas that have the most vacant properties, well, in their words, zombie foreclosures, but it's basically just vacant properties where people have left these houses vacant, disappeared, haven't been communicating, they're out of here, and then the banks are coming along and now just starting to foreclosure on those houses because they haven't heard from these owners. And these are investors that they're counting, as well as some of their data. If you go through the article, it's just single family homes where families own them. So both investors and single families are kind of just skedaddling and leaving these properties just for grabs. For who? For the natural people to start getting into these homes and not being on the street when these homes belong to you. They are available. And so if you're a real estate investor and you're still doing those different strategies, you can still make a lot of money this year, like until this market tanks. And you might want to focus on these areas because there's a lot of vacant houses that you will be able to get for a good price if you can get them while they're good in these cities. And then if you're not a real estate investor and you're just somebody that, look, I'm just trying to find a house, I'm trying to find somewhere to live, and you're of Aboriginal descent, then there's some other ways that you can go into these areas specifically, and you should have more than one house that you can actually take possession of when you know yourself and you know law. And we'll get into some of those things later on in other videos. I just can't put everything into one video. And we'll go over a allodial title, what a allodial title is, why it trumps deeds and land patents and all of those things. I'm gonna start getting into some deep stuff, man. So like, I'm gonna keep putting it in your face. I'm not gonna just you ain't just gotta take my word for it. I'm gonna share some data with you so that you ain't gotta believe me. All right, but you're gonna have to start doing something, and then hopefully we can all come together and start doing something together and actually taking action as a people. Because certain things is going down, certain things is rising up, and you need to choose which side you on.